big win for us yesterday. Short week. Got our hands full getting ready for one of the top-rated offenses in the league, and I think our guys are looking forward to the challenge on Thanksgiving Day in front of a national audience. Should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it.
You've been in this position before, not just Thanksgiving, Thursday games, obviously. The challenge, especially against an unfamiliar opponent, Coach.
Yeah. On a short week, you're cramming so much in comparison to when you have a normal week, Sal. So the challenge is to try to keep the guys fresh and at the same time give them enough information where they can go out and play fast and execute and not overwhelm them with a lot of information in a short period of time. So trying to balance that but give them enough is probably the biggest challenge, along with making sure they get the proper rest.
Leslie, Amari Cooper came out, I think it was last week, kind of took offense when Michael Gallup was called a number 2 receiver. But where does Gallup rank as far as the so-called secondary options go in the team's passing game?
Well, he's a really good receiver, without question. The numbers are showing it. He's making some terrific catches, some contested catches, and he's a guy that could be a number 1 on a lot of teams, and they've got some good receivers, Amari being one of them. So it's a good situation to be a part of when you have another guy like Amari who takes so much attention, and it kind of opens up things for the other receivers. And then they have a running back who's really special as well. It takes the pressure off the passing game in some ways. So I think he's in a really good situation, and he's a good receiver.
Just based on what you've seen from Trey over the past, call it 3 weeks, pretty confident he's a guy that can take an opposing team's best weapon away?
He's playing at a very high level for us. He's been doing that throughout the season, had a good training camp, gotten off to a great start here during the season. And those receivers in Dallas, they present a lot of challenges for a lot of teams. There's a reason why they've done so well passing the football throughout the season. So it'll take our defensive line being able to put some pressure on the quarterback, our pressure package. It'll take a lot to slow that passing game down.
Is this the toughest test you guys have faced as a defense this season?
Looking at the numbers, you would think so. They've had some really good games, Dallas' offense, throughout the season. So this will be a big challenge, not only for us, but for other teams that have played them as well. So it'll give us a good idea of where we are.
Leslie, everybody's getting excited about the pressures and the sacks. And it's one thing to do it against teams that might not have this kind of an offense like Dallas. But how, is it just, can you see that kind of success against Dallas? Or, maybe I'm asking you too much, but can you expect that kind of pressure against Dallas, or can you blitz as much?
As you mentioned, John, and we mentioned, it's a very good offense with a lot of weapons. Their quarterback's playing at a high level. We're going to have our hands full in so many areas, but we're going to try to do the things that we do to put ourselves in the best position to be successful, and got to find a way to slow them down. And we're going to go out there and do what we need to do to try to get that done.
Coach, now in year 3 with a lot of the same guys on your side of the ball, are you at a place where you feel like you can kind of diversify a little bit more in what you're giving them? Maybe not this week or shortly, but in general, do you feel like you can diversify? You're at that stage now where you can give them a little bit more and maybe be a little bit more exotic in the way you're calling games.
Yeah. It definitely helps that we've been together with this group for the last couple of seasons, with the majority of them, and a few for the last 3 seasons. So, Chris, you do have some confidence that when you're talking with them about certain things you want to get done, that they're going to receive it the right way and be able to go out and execute it. And at the same time, as you mentioned, on a short week like this, you do have to temper that to a degree. But from week to week, there are some things you feel very comfortable in introducing to this group of players because of our history together. But every week is a little bit different.
Talking to Matt, he was saying that he and Tremaine feel as though they are comfortable in playing as aggressive as maybe they've ever played. They're trusting their eyes, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
How much does that play into forcing negative plays when they can get to these areas that much faster because they are confident in being aggressive?
I think that's a big part of it, Chris. Those guys have been executing this defense, in Tremaine's case, the last couple of seasons, in Matt's case, the last 3 seasons. So the familiarity allows you to anticipate some things. When a call comes in, you know what the strengths and weaknesses are. So allows you to be able to play a little bit faster, and that's what's happening with the both of them. They've been together now for a number of games. Their communication is so good at this point. They can anticipate things before they happen by down and distance and by call, and that's really where you want to be.
And because they're so athletic, Matt and Tremaine, they can cover so well.
Yeah.
You don't have to play dime as much maybe as you might if you were on other teams. You don't have to do
Right.
that. How much does that help you as well, Coach?
It's huge, and you know, you're right. A lot of teams have to bring in an extra defensive back. Having two guys that can cover as well as they can cover, but yet play the run as effectively as they do, it allows us to do some things schematically that some teams can't, and hide some things also because of their coverability, having both linebackers on the field. So it gives us some flexibility, and it's helped us in our third down package for sure.
What do you think this team's going to find out about itself entering this meaty part of the schedule with 3 division leaders, the next 4 teams?
I think, John, you always look at it, one game at a time. I don't think any of our guys are looking ahead at the games following this game. It's really about this Thanksgiving Day game. It's so important to us, and that's where our focus is, just one game at a time. This game has huge implications for our team, and I think that's where our focus is, just trying to find a way to get a win in this ball game.
Leslie Shack mentioned yesterday that the defensive front was challenged by the coaching staff a few weeks ago. What was that message, and how have you seen things change with that?
Yeah. The message for our defense, and this has been ongoing, we always talk about our defensive line, and you hear Sean talk about it with our lines in general, offensive line, defensive line, really being the groups that set the tone for our teams on offense and defense. And it's no different for our defensive line. They're the group that sets the tone for the rest of our defense. When we want to be physical, when we want to be a tough spark defense, it starts with our defensive line. And that challenge is always out there, going all the way back to OTAs, training camp. This is nothing new. It starts with our guys up front. They know that, and over the last few weeks, they've risen to the occasion. And when that happens, our defense plays better. But it all starts with our guys up front.
How do you feel
like Ed responded to the reduced workload a few weeks ago? It seems like it's sparked a positive change.
Yeah, it seems that way, Matt. When you take a look at, what has transpired over the last couple of weeks, I mean, his play has really improved, but he'd been improving throughout. It just so happens that with his numbers reduced, his production has gone up, which sometimes can happen because your focus narrows a little bit. But it's good for us. It's good for our team, good for our defense, and Ed's attitude has been terrific. He didn't pout. He didn't put his head down and go into a cocoon. He's been really good, and he should just get better and better as the season goes on.
How glad were you to see that, given that, this is a guy that you know, but not super well. He's a rookie. You don't know how he's going to respond to something like that. He said it was the first time he hadn't started a game in his football career. So
Yeah.
how nice was it to see him respond in the right way?
It's really good because, when we were going through the process back in the spring when we were evaluating, that was one of the things we kept in mind as well. He hadn't really faced a lot of adversity going back to probably the 8th or 9th grade. He's always been the man, and so we were going through that process and just trying to determine how he would handle situations like this, a little bit of adversity. And he's handled it like a champ, and that's good for our team going forward, good for him as well, and really proud of the way he's handled things.
I have the exact same question about Levi. How has he responded, obviously, to having some reduced snaps as well?
Yeah. Both of those guys are high character individuals, Sal. So unlike guys that may not be of such high quality character, they've handled it the right way. And Levi's been really good in the locker room. He gets along with Kevin extremely well and the rest of his teammates. And, he played well for us yesterday as well. And so did Kevin. They're good players. And those guys know their numbers could be called at any time, especially the way Tre'Davious is playing. And Levi's been terrific.
Leslie, I'm half joking, but does it help on a short week for your defense to have played 46 snaps?
Probably, I hope so, John. I hope we look back at it and say that game with so few snaps was good for us. Time will tell. But for sure, rest is a premium this week, and it sure didn't hurt us, I'm sure.
There's a lot of talk on the offensive side about how they've had success running no huddle. I'm curious, just as a defensive coach, what sort of strain that puts on you when the team decides not to huddle up?
Yeah, it can create some challenges for you for sure. But at the same time, when they're going no huddle, it also shrinks some of the things that they can do formationally as well as play calling. So there's a little bit of pro and con involved in that. We faced no huddle in the past, and we found a way to get through it. But it presents its challenges, but I think for both sides of the ball.